And for our audience today, what are some key themes from your book that you think are extremely applicable right now?
I think, and by the way, this is awesome. Thanks for having me on, Carson. I've been really, really looking forward to this. And I'm just going to hit this head on. And, selling from the heart, and why I think in the times that we've been through is really important is a couple things. It's all about building authentic relationships and bringing meaningful value to the forefront. And so let's just stop and think just for a moment. I'm just going to key in on the word authentic just for a second, or authenticity. Probably over the last couple years, I'd be surprised if it's not one of the words of the year this year, because it's been used so often in 2021 and 2022. Is selling from the heart's about bringing your authentic self to the forefront. And I think this is what your clients crave. This is what your future clients crave. And when I really look at authenticity, this is what I'd like for people to think about. It's a lifestyle. It's not a light switch. And what I mean by that is, if I just go to the subtitle of my book, How Your Authentic Self Sells You, I believe all the outer success that you all will have and continue to have is based on the inner work that you all do. Authenticity is about looking inward, not looking outward. And I'm not giving you all PhD level stuff on this, because I don't have a PhD in psychology or human behavior. My PhD is from on the street selling copiers in Los Angeles my whole entire career. But what made me me, and what makes you you, is the journey that you go on to uncover what makes you tick, why you do the things that you do, and are you congruent with it? So this is what I'd like for us to think about, is in the times that we're selling in right now, I believe it's how well you connect to yourself authentically. I'm going to stop right here. And the reason why I say this is, if you struggle to truly connect with yourself authentically, I believe you're going to struggle to connect to your clients authentically. And to me, authenticity, if I summed it up in one word, is about congruency. Does the walk simply match the talk? And that's what I'd like for us to think about. In selling in these times that we're selling in, people just want to do business with somebody who's real. Somebody who brings the best version of themselves to the forefront. People can sense this. People can smell it. And the radar behind this is sky high. And it's how you carry yourself. It's how you carry yourself in a genuine way. I use the term, Carson, how you lean in. It's how you lean into people, how you engage. It's all about your tonality and your body movement, your eye movement. They can all sense this, and they can smell when somebody's authentic pretty fast, but they can also smell a fake really fast. And so this is my passion around selling from the heart, is to bring authenticity, integrity, and trust back into this very, very, very noble profession of sales.
Powerful. Couldn't have said it better myself, Larry. And I think you exude and embody that each and every day. I think it's so important that we're meeting customers where they are, that we're understanding that they, like us, are humans that have priorities. We need to meet them where they are. And it makes it all the more important that we're showing up, being true to ourselves, understanding what our core priorities are, and showing up with unique perspective and value now more than ever. Paul, I find it fascinating, and you wrote your book, Selling Through Tough Times, and it came out amidst the COVID-19 pandemic. So one might think or assume that the book was about selling in a pandemic, but it isn't. It actually highlighted a number of tough times in history and how salespeople have thrived in them. So let me ask, how should sellers today and sales leaders navigate through these uncertain times?
Yeah, no, great question, Carson. And also thanks for organizing this. It's great to be with you, also with Larry. Love hearing Larry's insights and ideas. So, we think about this when we face tough times, especially whether it's throughout history. tough times aren't necessarily a bad thing. When we look at top achievers, how they thrive during a tough environment, it begins with the right attitude. All right, so let's think about this for a minute. All right, think of this statement. Tough times are bad. If we were to poll the audience right now and say, okay, how many of you use that statement? That statement describes how you believe as it relates to recessions, as a downturn. And most of us would raise our hand, right? Tough times are bad. That's what we think. Tough times are painful. But if we believe tough times are bad, we're also going to behave in a way that reflects that attitude. We're going to behave in a way that reinforces our belief that tough times are bad. In some ways, we invoke that self-fulfilling prophecy as salespeople. If we think customers are going to be more price sensitive in a tough environment, we're going to look for evidence to support that, and we're more likely to discount. If we believe there's going to be a drop in business activity in a tough time, then we're likely to reduce our own activity to coincide with that. So we behave as we believe. But I believe that tough times aren't bad. In fact, Carson, if you could look at your career, Larry, if you could look at your career as well, you think about the peaks of success that we experience throughout our life. When we really gain traction, we hit those marquee moments. Those moments are often preceded by a deep valley. And in that valley is where you learn. In that valley is where you get motivated. That's where you fail. But through the valley, through the midst of that valley, you're going to reach that new height. So tough times aren't bad. I believe that tough times are good. And when you embrace that attitude that tough times are good, you are opening your eyes to opportunities that nobody else will see but you. Tough times do create new and unique opportunities. Tough times also expose our weaknesses so that we can get stronger. What's interesting, since the Great Recession, we've been on like an absolute historic economic run where things have been just great. I mean, pandemic obviously setting that aside, but over the past 12 to 13 years, things have been pretty darn good economically speaking. Good economic times will mask bad sales behavior. And during tough times, those weaknesses are exposed, and that enables us to get better. So tough times are good. And when I think about tough times, Carson, I can't help but think of Microsoft. A lot of people don't know Microsoft was founded during a recession. And you have to wonder, all right, if Microsoft would have been founded in a different era when things were easier, would they be where they are at today? Nobody can answer that question, but you have to believe that when you start out in a tough environment and you make it through, you're not only going to become better as a result of it, you're going to hit new heights that maybe you wouldn't have hit otherwise. So tough times are good. And one thing, when we think about sales leaders as they face uncertain times, I'd like to share two practical pieces of advice. Number one, get out in the field more with your team. Get out there and get an unfiltered version of what's going on in your market. It's not enough just to hear it from salespeople. Get out there and talk to your customers and show that support. People want stability in tough times. Leaders in the field equals stability. Not only that, you've got to be a merchant of hope. You've got to be the positive source of information for your customers, for your team. Be that merchant of hope. Tough times are good. That's critical.